November Sunday here in New Jersey. The weather 55 degrees, actually pretty comfortable, but the wind is going to play a factor here. 18 miles per hour. It's been whipping over the course of pregame. Partly cloudy skies the rest of the way. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew. Giants coming off the bye, had a 15-7 win over Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. Back-to-back wins under Tom Coughlin, oldest head coach in the NFL, 67 years old. Oakland Raiders, they've got Dennis Allen leading the way. He's the youngest head coach in the NFL, 41 years old. That 49-20 loss to Philadelphia, where they gave up 7 touchdowns to Nick Foles. Sebastian Janikowski dealing with a rib injury. He'll kick it off. The Giants won the toss.
And watching him in pregame warmups, he looked absolutely terrible. Was very immobile. Did kick a few balls in one direction. Did not even try in the other direction. So this is going to be something to keep your eye on as far as how much power he can generate with a bad rib.
Jarrell Jernigan, averaging 23 yards per return, is back deep for the Giants. Giants looking for their 3rd straight win. Raiders kick it off with Janikowski. We're underway at MetLife. Scooped up by Jernigan. Oh, he coughs up the football! Turnover, Andre Holmes! The Giants give it away right out of the gate.
And special teams have been a big problem for the Giants all season. What a horrible way to start. It's a terrible kickoff by Janikowski. But Jernigan gets hit right there, and the ball pops right into the hands of Holmes. Looked like Holmes could have scored by cutting back here, but he decided to stay down the sidelines and put his team at the 5-yard line.
Andre Holmes was on the practice squad of Dallas and New England. Janikowski was in obvious pain because of the rib trouble. And somehow that kickoff led to a turnover, and the Raiders open up 1st and goal from the 5. Double tight end set, Mastrud and Casa. Jennings in the backfield. Handed off to Jennings up the middle. Jennings, a spin move to the goal line. And just short. Tuck and roll just saved a touchdown. 4-yard gain for Rashad Jennings, starting for the injured Darren McFadden.
Boy, he gets real close to getting in there. In fact, this might be worth a challenge, although it being at the 1-yard line, probably not going to be challenged by Dennis Allen. Jennings with real good power there, 6'1", 230 pounds, looking for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar signed as a free agent. 2nd and goal, extra offensive lineman for Oakland. Pryor pushing the pile. He's in. Touchdown Raiders. Just like that. Oakland on the board after the Jernigan fumble off the kickoff.
And real smart play selection here by the Raiders. Pryor goes 6'6". Doesn't have to do a whole lot to get into the end zone. You can see the ball breaks the plane right there before he gets pushed back. Disastrous start for the Giants, and just what the Raiders need coming all the way to the East Coast.
So they check that upstairs just to make sure. And they have determined it is a touchdown. So Janikowski on for the extra point. This is an Oakland team that has lost 7 in a row on the road. What a boost for the Raiders to start things off. Jernigan fumbling on the opening kickoff. Giants defense allows a touchdown, but they were put in such a terrible position because of special teams.
You know, the ball just kind of popped up after it hit his leg there as he was trying to hurdle a tackler. And a fortuitous bounce, to say the least, for Holmes. 2 plays later, the Raiders are in the end zone. This is what the officials were looking at, whether there was possession there for Pryor. He broke the plane, and then the ball comes loose.
And the Raiders have actually been quick starters this season. They've now outscored their opponents 59-24 in first quarter action. It's the other 3 quarters that have been a problem.
And they could not have asked for a better start, though, to get your first possession at your opponent's 5-yard line and then capitalize quickly. But you got to wonder about Janikowski. He even got knocked down after that extra point.
It's just moving gingerly. And this time he's able to pull a little more weight into it. And there's the old Janikowski, and the fans react because Jernigan didn't get a chance to return it. It is New York,
yes,
New Jersey.
Yes, it is.
So Eli Manning taking the field to lead this Giants offense, has not thrown a pick in his last 2 games.
And according to head coach Tom Coughlin, it's Manning's intellect is what gives the Giants the edge today. The Raiders make it difficult to get into a rhythm offensively because of the variety of blitzes and pressures they run. So Manning must be on his toes at the line of scrimmage to get into the right call.
Motion man, the former Raider, Brandon Myers. Take the handoff. Andre Brown in the starting lineup. Bootleg. Manning throwing. Too high. Trying to hit Victor Cruz along the perimeter. Let's check out the starting lineups. First for the New York Giants, Tom Coughlin made mention Justin Pugh has really developed nicely. They've asked a lot of the rookie out of Syracuse to start at right tackle. Well, Peyton Hillis not in the starting lineup. Andre Brown, the surprise starter, returning from that fractured left leg. Suffered it against New England in the final preseason game for the Giants. He was on short-term IR. Brown gets the ball. Brown able to cut through that hole for a gain of 7. The rookie C.O. Moore out of UConn makes the tackle. Defensively for the Oakland Raiders, Lamar Houston has led this talented front. He's got 4 sacks for Oakland. Linebackers, Kevin Burnett, one of the elder statesmen, along with Charles Woodson on this defense. And in the secondary, Mike Jenkins is a former Cowboy, so he knows Eli Manning and the Giants offense. Played against them within the division for 5 years before signing as a free agent with Oakland. Peyton Hillis is now in there. Myers, the motion man, on a 3rd and 3. Giants looking to convert. Manning in trouble. Manning is sacked. It is Usama Young, the safety. 2.5 sacks now in the season. It's a loss of 5, and the Giants will punt.
Now, this is one of those pressures. From the top of the screen, you're going to see Usama Young come on the blitz. And there's just nobody there to pick him up as he gets right by Peyton Hillis. A real poor job by Hillis. He outweighs Usama Young by about 50 pounds, and he just whiffed on the block.
And a rough start for the Giants here against Oakland. Weatherford will punt it. 2 men deep. Short punt, but it takes a Giants roll. And finally touched at the 27-yard line. A 51-yard punt. Pryor and the Raiders with a 7-0 lead early. Second rushing touchdown of the season for Terrell Pryor. Raiders have a 7-0 lead on the New York Giants. 12:36 to go in this opening quarter. Oakland takes over 1st and 10 at its own 27-yard line. Take the handoff, Pryor to throw it. Under pressure, Pryor breaks free. Looks downfield, floats it. Connection is made with Michael Rivera, the rookie tight end out of Tennessee. 16 yards. Tuck could not bring down Pryor in the backfield.
Well, this is what they're going to be facing. Watch Tuck come in, and he's got a real good shot at Pryor here. But a nice little quick move there, ducking inside. And a dangerous pass over the middle. It's all working right now for Oakland.
Tom Coughlin talked about how Pryor will be the fastest guy on the field. They respect his speed. Pryor, pump fake, looking to run. Sliding down, not taking any chances, and they're going to rule him down at the 44-yard line. 1-yard gain. Terrell Pryor leads all NFL quarterbacks in rushing yards. Actually leads the NFL 7.7 yards per rush.
And he's wearing a brace on his right knee. Injured it last week against the Eagles. You saw how smartly he got down on the ground. Today he expects Rod Streeter to be his main target. The two have spent hours together studying, practicing, and developing that bond of trust.
A lot of chemistry between those two. He'll keep it. Pryor. Not moving that fluidly.
And slowly and still outrunning everybody to get out of bounds and pick up another first down.
That's a 9-yard gain for Pryor, starting offensive line. This is the 6th different combination they've gone with to start. That's the most in the NFL. Menelik Watson, who actually played college basketball at Marist and then 1 year of football at Florida State, getting his first start. Told you about Jennings in for McFadden. McFadden didn't make the trip. Having a tough time staying healthy. He re-aggravated that right hamstring. Raiders are on the move now in Giants territory. Play fake. Pryor tosses out for Jennings. And a modest gain, 2 yards on first down. Hit by the linebacker Keith Rivers for the Giants, and a penalty marker thrown. So Pete Morelli, our referee here today. This one's coming back.
The Giants have both Justin Tuck and that last time Jason Pierre-Paul getting quick pressure on Pryor. Even with the holding penalty there, Pryor, good job of finding Jennings, getting it out of his hand, but holding penalty as good as a sack.
So back it up now, back in Raider territory at the 43-yard line. Holding called against Khalif Barnes of Oakland. Fake the handoff. Again, it's a dump off. This time, Marcel Reese. And Reese is bottled up short of midfield. A 5-yard gain. Cullen Jenkins with the tackle. Defensively, Jason Pierre-Paul now says he's right around 90%. He's been dealing with the back injury, and the numbers have reflected it. Only just 1 sack. John Beeson, middle linebacker, leader, came over from Carolina, and he has stood out for the Giants. And Tremaine McBride starting at cornerback. Corey Webster sitting this one out with a groin injury. Terrell Thomas is in. He's the nickel for the Giants. Played extremely well against Philly 2 weeks ago. Pryor out of the pocket. Pryor throws on the move. Incomplete. Denarius Moore, the intended receiver. Coverage there from Thomas, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week in the Giants' last game.
Really tight coverage here. Again, a dangerous throw back across the middle. Ball should have been caught by Moore. But when Pryor escapes the pocket, he wants to escape to his right. Obviously, he's a right-handed passer. He's thrown a couple of nice passes, escaping to that side. The Giants would like to force him to the left side because he does not like to throw. He'd rather run it when he has to escape the pocket to the left.
4 receivers set. Jennings in the backfield. 3rd and 15. Out of the gun, Pryor. Moving to his right once again. Pryor, a little indecisive. Push pass. Incomplete. It was low. And Denarius Moore would not have made it to the first down marker. Tuck and Jenkins putting the heat on Terrell Pryor. Raiders will punt.
Pryor had a chance for a home run ball here to Andre Jones. Andre Jones down the sidelines. Watch him just break free here as Pryor comes out of the pocket. There's just nobody down this sidelines. That's an easy touchdown for the Raiders, but Pryor could not locate Holmes.
And the penalty, the holding penalty, was a killer for the Raiders. Marquette King, who's averaging over 48 yards per kick with Ruben Randall deep. Ball is free! Scooped up at the 20 and in for the touchdown! Cooper Taylor takes it all the way. DeMontre Moore with the block.
That's the first block in Marquette King's young career. And it's a disastrous block. Right up the middle will come DeMontre Moore. Unblocked, laying out, gets his right hand on the ball, and there's the scoop and score for New York.
It is the rookie out of Richmond. Special teams take it. Special teams give it away. Wild opening here. The Raiders and Giants are tied at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA. And by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
Traffic moving nicely across the GW. Raiders and Giants, a lot of traffic on special teams. Two rookies combining, Damontre Moore and Cooper Taylor. First punt block return for a touchdown since September of 1988 for the Giants. They did it against Washington back then. And boy, do they ever need that. Josh Brown kicking off to Taiwan Jones. Thought about it and takes a knee. Out to the 20-yard line for Oakland.
Well, the blocking here is a mess for the Raiders. This is Jack Crawford, a second-year defensive end. And there's John Kondo, and right between them goes Moore. And then the effort to lay out, block it with his right hand. And a good bounce for Cooper Taylor to take it into the end zone.
So Raiders have it at the 20-yard line, now in a tie game. Jack Cornell, who has just signed off the practice squad. He's bounced between the active roster and the practice squad this season. He's in there on the offensive line for Oakland. It's a pitch for Jennings, trying to get to the edge. Jennings able to turn it upfield. Out of bounds. Antrell Roll with the hit. 7-yard gain for the 5-year veteran.
And a lot of times you see a penalty flag thrown on that type of tackle, as Roll went to the head of Jennings right here. Did not grab the face mask and did not go inside the shoulder pad to get a horse collar tackle.
Raiders come in number 4 in the NFL in rushing yards, just over 148 yards per game. This time a pitch to Jennings. Jennings has got a first down. Down to the 35. Good block from Stefan Wisniewski. Turns it into an 8-yard gain.
And what the Raiders are doing offensively is they're hitting the perimeter of the Giants defense. Everything is either going wide to the right or wide to the left. And they're having success so far with that strategy, staying away from the middle. And the leading tackler for the Giants, the newly acquired John Beeson, who's really been a real benefit and bonus for this Giant defense.
Empty backfield on first down from the 35. Pryor to throw it. Timing route off the hand of Denarius Moore. It's incomplete. McBride back there deep for the Giants. McBride isn't 100%. He's been dealing with a groin injury.
Yeah, he looked real good on this play. Pryor spots Moore right away. That's where he knows he's got single coverage. He threw that ball about a foot too far. Moore could only get a hand on it, but that coverage by McBride, perfect.
McBride heads to the Giants sideline. Ryan Mundy is in. On 2nd and 10. Mastrud, the tight end, sets up wide movement. That flags down.
Start, number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
And it's the rookie Menelik Watson. He just doesn't have a whole lot of football experience. 1 year at Florida State. He's from Manchester, England. Played soccer as a kid. Eventually played basketball, as we mentioned, at Marist.
There's that formation with Mastrud way at the top of the screen, and then the rookie going against Cullen Jenkins way offsides.
Raiders have allowed 32 sacks this season. That's tied for second in the NFL. Miami has allowed the most with 35. Line of scrimmage is now the 30-yard line.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very polite, Pete.
Very polite.
I'm not sure what the question was or the answer.
But he was nice about it. It was the play clock. Coming up on 8 minutes to go in this first quarter. 2nd and 15 now for the Raiders. Take the handoff. Moving pocket. And Pryor didn't like what he saw. Flag is thrown.
Well, he had a receiver in the area. They may pick up this flag.
For defensive grounding. There's a receiver in the area.
It was Jennings who was there. He was in a crowd.
That was a good decision by Pryor, because here's Jennings right here, but you can also see Justin Tuck right there. So wisely, the young quarterback threw it in the ground because the Giants were all over that screen.
Now a 3rd and 15 for Pryor and the Raiders. This crowd has been energized here in the first quarter. Pryor gets rid of it, throws to Rivera. Well short of a first down. They picked up 6. McBride over there defensively for New York.
Well, that's how important that offsides penalty was on Watson, pushing the team back, and the Raiders couldn't overcome it. In fact, didn't even try to pick up the first down on that 3rd and 15. He's throwing a short pass out to Rivera and bring out the punt team.
Well, this is where it's been an adventure. Special teams. Marquette King, second year out of Fort Valley State. And a booming kick. Randall backpedals. Why catch it? Randall catches inside the 5. Randall is brought down at the 15-yard line. Jack Crawford on special teams, a 63-yard punt. Eli Manning and the Giants offense on the field when we come back. Prior to the game, Victor Cruz of the New York Giants. A little meet and greet with some of our military. This is Veteran Day weekend, and the flag out on the field for the national anthem. And in honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. Giants and Raiders tied at 7. New York with the football at its own 15-yard line. 7:08 to go in this first quarter. Manning to throw it. A strike. Victor Cruz on the receiving end of that 8-yard pass from Eli Manning. Brandon Ross with a tackle.
And that's been one of the big changes in the Giant offense the last couple of games. More 3-step passes, getting the ball out quickly, giving that offensive line a little bit of confidence, seeing that down marker move 8 yards down the field after a very short play.
How much could Eli take out of the tape between Philadelphia and Oakland with Foles throwing 7 touchdowns?
Well, you watch it more to enjoy it more than anything as an opposing quarterback. But there are tendencies that you got to look for.
On a give. Andre Brown. Giants believe he can really be a difference maker in the second half of this season. Back from injury, a 7-yard gain. NFL Today update. We head to New York for the first time today. It's JB and Dan Marino.
Nick Foles keeps it going.
Oh, yeah, 7 touchdowns last week. Now he gets time to throw. Throws it up down the middle of the field. And watch this catch after the ball's up in the air. 55-yard touchdown. Deshaun Jackson, Philadelphia, 7-0.
Exactly as they drew it up, Ian and Dan.
What a roll that kid is on. Nick Foles, after his performance last week against the Raiders. Handoff to Peyton Hillis, and not much room to work with. 1-yard gain. Pat Sims wraps him up for Oakland.
The Giants have to be very encouraged as Kevin Gilbride seeing Andre Brown with 2 carries for 14 yards and very positive, powerful running by Brown. Now Hillis gets his shot with a draw play. I'm not sure I agree with Hillis on a draw play, more of a power back.
Gilbride now in his 10th year with the Giants. Myers and Pasco, 2 tight ends in this formation on a 2nd and 9. Manning straight back. Manning under pressure. Manning is dumped. Back at the 20. Hunter and Moore combined to bring down Eli Manning.
Very creative blitz called by Jason Tarver. We've seen 2 blitzes now get to Manning for big losses. Jason Hunter picks up his 3rd sack of the year, lining up real wide here, coming all the way around. Justin Pugh, the rookie, 11 yards on the loss, and Pugh never hardly even laid a glove on him.
Dime package now for Oakland. Adams and Ross on the field. This is a 3rd and 20. Ruben Randall, another receiver for Manning to work with. Rush is coming again. Manning on a dump off for Hillis. Hillis fumbles the football. It's free. Hillis trying to cover it up as the ball rolled underneath his leg. And they'll peel off the pile here.
Now Phillip Adams came in real quickly for the Raiders. He's one of the wrestlers, and he may have gotten that ball. Yeah.
Oakland's got it as Hillis coughs it up. 2nd fumble of the day for the New York Giants.
Well, it's a good play call, but again, it's to Peyton Hillis, who's out in space here. He's going to lose this ball. There goes Adams very quickly. There may be Houston there. More Raiders than Giants getting after this loose ball. But on a 3rd and 20, it's going to be very unusual to see Peyton Hillis pick up a first down on a screen pass.
Eli Manning was dealing with the pressure and got rid of it on that dump off to Hillis, who turns it over. Raiders take over a 1st and 10 at the Giants 21. Play action. Pryor looking downfield. He's sacked. Jason Pierre-Paul. Just his 2nd sack of the season. Had 16 and a half sacks back in 2011 and went to the Pro Bowl.
Working against Khalif Barnes. Barnes has already been called for a holding penalty, and he just gets trucked back to the lap of Terrell Pryor. An overpowering pass rush by JPP.
So back it up for the Raiders now, a 2nd and 14. Under 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. Back to the ground game. Jennings makes a man miss. And nice through the hole to take it to the 15-yard line. Wisniewski and Brizell angling towards the right.
Looks like Jason Pierre-Paul a little slow to get up. In fact, he's not getting up as he missed the tackle in the backfield on Jennings.
Jason Pierre-Paul on his back. Medical staff is out there. We'll step aside here in the first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores.
Jason Pierre-Paul is headed to the locker room. An apparent shoulder injury for Pierre-Paul, the way he landed in pursuit. Matthias Kiwanuka steps in for Pierre-Paul. Jennings sets up as a receiver on the outside. This is a 3rd and 4 for Oakland. Flag down, prior to the end zone. Incomplete. Try to hit Andre Holmes. Terrell Thomas was there in coverage for New York. It's going to work against Oakland. Looks like the Giants are going to turn it down.
Illegal formation. Offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Now, one play after JPP picks up his 2nd sack of the season, he's going to be a victim of his own hustle, really. Watch as he lays out here to try to bring down Jennings and lands on that right shoulder. And that obviously is what they're going to be looking at in the locker room momentarily.
So Janikowski on for a 33-yard field goal attempt, trying to give Oakland the lead. King to hold it. Janikowski knocks it through. It's 10-7 Raiders. Points off of turnovers. 3-point lead for Oakland. After the Peyton Hillis fumble, Oakland Raiders get a 33-yard field goal from Sebastian Janikowski. They've got a 10-7 lead on the Giants. 3:21 to go in this first quarter. Raiders have alternated losses and wins in each of their last 5 games, coming off a loss to Philadelphia. Jernigan's not going to take it out. Giants will have it at the 20-yard line. We packed a lot in the first quarter. The key plays have been on special teams. The fumble by Jernigan, this Holmes on the recovery, and then the block by Moore. Cooper Taylor the recovery for the touchdown. Hillis coughs it up, and the Raiders recovered, capped it off with the field goal. Eli Manning making his 144th consecutive start. That's the longest active streak among quarterbacks in the league. Manning on a give for Brown. Andre Brown, that's something Eli talked about. He can turn those 2 3-yard gains into 5, 6, or 7. That was for 5. Fantasy football fans, check out CBSSports.com Player Challenge, a new 4-week game with a cash prize in every league. See rules and sign up at CBSSports.com/challenge. 19 yards for Brown last year, 385 yards on the ground before a injured left leg late in the season. Fractured left fibula, November the 25th. It's Brown again. And Tom Coughlin is going to see how much wear and tear Brown can handle here. 4-yard gain. C.O. Moore combining with Sims to bring him down.
And because he hasn't played in so long, you worry about ball security and taking a hit and being able to bounce off. So far, we've seen real good vision and power finishing off his runs and holding on to the ball. That was a big question that Coughlin and the coaching staff had about Brown.
Coughlin said he's big and fast. He just brings a new element to the running game that they've been lacking. David Wilson now in IR with a neck injury. Slicing for the first down, Andre Brown. 5-year veteran, originally was a 4th-round pick in 2009. You can tell he's a strong between the tackles runner, north-south style. And they'll move the chains.
They did a good job of moving Bear Pasco, not lining him up in the traditional fullback spot, but using him as a fullback, as a lead blocker on that play. He cleared the way on that left side behind Kevin Booth.
Pasco just limped off the field. Larry Donnell, first-year tight end out of Grambling, a raw talent, is now in. On first down for Manning and the Giants. We're down to 1:20 to go in this first quarter. Manning trying to dump it off. Houston with the shot. Brown the intended target.
Well, this is something the Giants have trouble all season long. 5 different running backs have started. That's unbelievable in just 8 games.
69.9 rushing yards per game. That's 30th in the NFL. The only team without a run of 20 or more yards. Their longest run from scrimmage is only 18 yards. Peyton Hillis wasn't on the team. You go back a month. Hillis was looking for a job. Give it to Brown. Brown is gang tackled after the gain of 1, led by Nick Roach, Brandon Ross, and Mike Jenkins, also over there for Oakland. So 3rd and long now for the Giants.
Well, here's Nick Roach, leading tackler for the Raiders, their middle linebacker. He reads this and reacts extremely quickly with help from Brandon Ross there, and there was just nothing for Andre Brown.
Interconference matchup. The Giants have lost 5 straight against AFC teams. 3rd and 9. Play clock is down to 3. Working out of the gun. Manning, nobody home. Peyton Hillis was in the vicinity, but wasn't even looking up.
And he had his man beat too. C.O. Moore, the linebacker, had man-to-man coverage on Hillis out of the backfield. And Hillis is real late getting his head around, but he makes this catch. Little bump there may have thrown him off and disrupted his concentration, but that's a big play on 3rd down. That might have gone for big yards.
Weatherford on to punt it. Jacoby Ford standing at his own 23. Low punt, wobbly. Rolling out of bounds. Right around the 30-yard line of Oakland. They'll mark it at the 31. It's an all-new night of comedy on CBS, beginning with How I Met Your Mother and Two Broke Girls, followed by a new Mike and Molly and Mom. It all starts tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. 18 seconds to play in this first quarter. Raiders with a 10-7 lead. Oakland had 560 yards of offense last week. They allowed 542. The 560 was the most they've had since 1968 when they put up 604 against Cincinnati. But last week was a losing effort, a blowout loss to Philly. Give is to Jennings. Not much there. Jennings picks up a yard and a half. Brought down by Cullen Jenkins. That'll be the final play of this opening quarter. We'll head to the second quarter at MetLife Stadium. 10-7, Oakland in front. Jason Pierre-Paul back on the Giants sideline. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter, Raiders 10, Giants 7. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew. Giants enter action 2.5 games behind Dallas in the NFC East, trying to climb back into the race. Winds right around 18 miles per hour. And that can mess with your hair.
Well, not yours, but...
No, mine stays on.
Hasn't flown off yet this whole season. That's pretty good glue.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Good glue.
On a give for Jennings. And the blast up the middle for Jennings. They'll push the pile out across the 40-yard line. They blew the whistle before he was down and probably mark him down shy of the 40. Menelik Watson with a good block up front. That's a 7-yard gain for Jennings.
And the Raiders will be going into the wind. We've seen the effect on the punting by Weatherford as he kicked a lot of low punts into the wind. Now it's going to be the Raiders' turn to face this gusty wind.
Greg Olson in his first year as the offensive coordinator for the Oakland Raiders, working with Terrell Pryor, trying to develop him, trying to get him to trust his offensive line, to trust his reads. This is a 3rd and 1 now for Oakland. Just underway, second quarter. On the move, Pryor. Keith Rivers with the pressure. Raiders will punt.
And you know the Giants are expecting Pryor to run to his right as he's done a number of times already today. So here's Rivers. Look at he takes the angle there, beats the block of Rashad Jennings and forces the incompletion. Great play by Keith Rivers.
So Marquette King back out there.
It'll be interesting to see if King tries to drive one low, risking a return, or kick it normally high as he usually does.
Ruben Randall is averaging 6.5 yards per return this season, standing at the 11. Another high punt from King. It's got a booming leg. Fair catch at the 10. That's where the Giants will have it after the 50-yard punt from Marquette King. 3-point game with the Raiders in front early second quarter. Jason Pierre-Paul back on the Giants sideline. That shoulder injury that he suffered in the first quarter, but appears to be okay. On first down for the Giants from the 10. It's Andre Brown. 2-yard gain. Kevin Booth may have been involved in that tackle, his own teammate, as Brown tripped. First 3 possessions, a punt, a fumble, and a punt. This has not been a strong first half offensively for New York.
15 plays, just 22 yards, 16 yards of sacks. The Raiders bringing different blitzes have gotten to Manning twice in that first quarter.
Giants 5-0 after the bye, going back to 2008. 2nd and 8 for New York. Brown remains in the backfield, fake the handoff. Manning guns it. It's handled at the 26. Victor Cruz. First down. Tracy Porter with the coverage for Oakland. It covers 14 yards.
Yeah, Cruz looks pretty good. That neck looks totally healthy now. Watch a deep crossing route. Working on the outside against Tracy Porter, but elevating to make that catch and take his team out of a hole.
Eli Manning, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. The resume is always going to be good, no matter what Eli does the rest of his career, but struggles through the first 6 games. 15 interceptions. On first down, Manning on the money to Ruben Randall. Randall's got another first down for the Giants out across the 45. Nick Roach in on the tackle. That's a 20-yard hookup.
And Mike Jenkins, who had man-to-man coverage, tried to tackle him by the jersey. But Manning getting the ball out quickly on the slant route. There's the pull of the jersey. I'm glad you mentioned that 15 interception thing there, Ian, because that kept my name relevant in the sports world.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you also mentioned when Eli's
Yeah,
kicks?
something about him tying a record for most interceptions early in the season, or some throwaway stat.
Don't listen to that. Andre Brown getting to the second level at the 45. Connor and Beatty providing some extra space with blocks. It's a 9-yard rip for Brown.
Well, let's check out those blocks on the left side here as Brown will make his way. Huge hole there. No linebacker in sight for the Raiders until Kevin Burnett comes into the picture.
Brown averaged 5.3 yards per carry last season, had 8 touchdowns for the Giants. 2nd and 1, it's Brown again. He's got a hole. The acceleration by Brown. Tackled at the 36, 9-yard gain. Former Raider Brandon Myers, the tight end, getting in on the act.
Well, we talked about his power and his speed, but that's vision right there. cutting it back to the weak side, finding another huge hole and picking up another first down. But this is exactly what the Giants need. Balance in their offense. Manning got it started with the pass to Cruz. It got him out of the hole, and now a couple of big runs by Andre Brown.
Over 3 minutes now elapsed on this drive. Giants in Oakland territory at the 36. Fake the handoff. Manning throw. It's on time. Hakeem Nicks. Charles Woodson with a tackle down low. It's a 13-yard gain through the air.
Now the play action fake gives Manning a clear throwing lane here as Nicks comes inside on Phillip Adams and then makes a couple of nice moves to pick up another Giant first down. But look at the throwing lane there for Manning. That's because of the play action fake brought the linebackers up and opened up the lane. 3 for 3 on the drive now in for Eli.
Nicks' last touchdown, December 9th, 2012 against New Orleans. Eli trying to get him into the end zone. Working him underneath. Tracy Porter with a tackle. 5-yard gain for Nicks. So have to go back to that New Orleans game. Last time that Nicks has seen the end zone. Coming into today's game, 34 catches, 521 yards, a long of 57.
Well, you know, and Eli said that there's just been about 6 or 7 throws that something's just been a little bit off, but he knows that Nicks is in good spirits. He knows he wants to get him into the end zone.
8th play of the drive for the Giants. They trail Oakland 10-7. We come up on 9 minutes to go in this first half. It's a pitch for Brown. Takes a shot. Right at the 17 from Pat Sims. Brown comes up smiling. It's a 1-yard gain.
Well, Pat Sims goes 6'2", 310, number 90 here. Right side of the screen, and boom, down goes Brown.
So now a 3rd and 4 for New York. Sims heads to the sideline for Oakland. Daniel Muir is in, the veteran. Movement. Manning will take a shot. Over the shoulder attempt by Cruz. Flags down.
That was a free shot for Manning. He saw the offsides, the flag fly.
Offside.
Go for
Number
it.
99.
First down.
5-yard penalty, and the result of the penalty is the first down.
So they'll move the chains. Lamar Houston is called on the offsides for Oakland.
Houston got good pressure back in the first quarter, but he clearly is going to be offsides. He jumps into the neutral zone and can't get back.
Really take your pick.
Yeah.
There were 3 Raiders along that line.
Good play by Tracy Porter there, keeping Cruz from making that touchdown catch.
3rd penalty against Oakland. Giants have not been penalized yet. First down. Manning looks. It's dropped by Cruz. Cruz had a head of steam, but you have to catch the football first.
Yeah, he's obviously disappointed. Ball slightly behind him, but that's a catch that Cruz makes in his sleep, especially knowing that the goal line is so close. Again, it's Porter on the man-to-man. Clear drop by Victor Cruz.
You know, we asked Victor about his relationship with Eli Manning. He said, as a rookie free agent when Cruz came in, I was just happy when Eli spoke with me. Now it's a little different. Great communication. They talk to each other about what they see, and you've seen it on the field. 2nd and 10. Brown bouncing. Brown still going. Stacked up at the 5-yard line. For a moment there, it looked like Brown could take it all the way. Excellent vision. Daniel Muir in on the stop for the Raiders.
I think all the questions that Tom Coughlin had for Andre Brown have been answered here in the first half. This is an outstanding run. Good vision. There's the power and the desire to get down to the 5-yard line. Just exactly what this Giant offense needs.
And it's raining here in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and the rain has picked up. 11th play of the drive, 3rd and 3. Giants trying to take the lead. Manning, fade route. It's caught. Touchdown. Reuben Randall beats Jenkins. Giants go in front.
Outstanding throw and good awareness at the end of it by Randall to get both feet in. I don't think so. That right foot was in, but the left foot, no, he got them both in. He got the left in, the right down, and then the left came out of bounds. So great awareness of where he is on the field. 1-2, touchdown.
So the officials looking at this, all scoring plays reviewed, and it is confirmed. 11 plays, 90 yards for the Giants. Brown the extra point. New York with a 14-10 lead on Oakland. Eli Manning delivers exactly where it had to be as Randall hauls it in. Manning and the Giants with the lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Verizon. Verizon's 4G LTE is in more places than any other 4G network. And by M&M's. Chocolate's better with M.
Jogger out, Fort Lee National Park. You could offer the guy a ride. You're going alongside him. 14-10, Giants lead it. Tuesday on CBS, a person of interest, 3-episode event begins, and this time a hero will fall. Don't miss a new person of interest. That's Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. Impressive scoring drive for the New York Giants. 11 plays, 90 yards. Randall, the 5-yard touchdown. It took 6 minutes and 22 seconds to go down the field. 5th receiving touchdown in the last 5 games for Ruben Randall, second-year wideout out of LSU. Brown kicking off. Taiwan Jones is deep, and Jones is going to take it out 2 yards deep in the end zone. Jones cutting to the outside. Taiwan Jones turning on the speed. Jones, now a defensive back, was a running back for the Raiders. 41-yard return. Good field position for Pryor and the Raiders. A rainy day in Jersey. On first down for the Raiders, a hole for Jennings. Rashad Jennings, 8-yard gain. Jason Pierre-Paul is back in there for the Giants with that shoulder injury.
And offensively for the Raiders, you're seeing now more runs between the tackles after starting the game, trying to hit the perimeter of the Giant defense.
Jennings had his 3rd career 100-yard game last week, averaging 4.7 yards per carry in for the injured Darren McFadden. Jennings again. Little stutter step move as Jennings leaves his feet and picks up 3 yards. Keith Rivers with a tackle for New York. New set of downs for Oakland to work with. Giants allowed 34.8 points per game in their first 6 games and their first 0-6 start in 37 years. Just trying to salvage their season right now, and they're fortunate that they're playing in the NFC East, which has been a mediocre division. Dallas leading the way, 2.5 games better than the Giants. Fake it. It's Pryor zigzagging out of bounds. He's a tremendous athlete, Terrell Pryor, from Jeannette, Pennsylvania, a 2-sport star in high school. Football, of course, and a school record 2,285 points in his career for the Jeannette Jayhawks. He received 90 scholarship offers from big-time basketball programs, but the one school he was interested in, North Carolina, apparently they were not interested in him. No offer.
No, you know, I think he made the right choice going to Ohio State. He loves football just a little bit more. He looked a lot like his hero, LeBron James, in those highlights, didn't he?
Trying to get out of trouble. Pryor.
They're going to throw a flag on this. The ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's what the officials will talk about right now. It's going to be intentional grounding on Terrell Pryor.
Cullen Jenkins put the pressure on Pryor. There's a flag.
Intentional grounding, number 2, offense. Penalty being enforced from the spot of the foul and lost the down. The ball did not reach the line of scrimmage, therefore that is why it is an intentional grounding.
Pete Morelli just gave Pryor the Heisman. He didn't want to hear the explanation.
99 is Jenkins. He does a good job of beating Mike Brazel here to the outside. Again, the Giants just know that when Pryor's going to escape, he's going to try to run to the right side, as he does here. And this will cost him 20 yards.
Offensive penalties have been crushing blows to Oakland drives, just ruining any momentum in this first half. Pryor again out of the pocket, looking downfield. Pryor throws on the move to the Giants sideline and caught by Cooper Taylor of the Giants.
Now, Pryor started the game 2 for 2, but since then 1 out of 9 because of the pressure the Giants are putting on him. Nothing there on that first read. Jenkins forces him out of the pocket again. That ball would have been complete to a guy standing on the sidelines.
It is 3rd and 30 for Oakland. Terrell Pryor looking for his first career road win as a starter. Running play. Jennings! Oh, Rashad Jennings needed 30 yards. Not going to get it. 20-yard gain and a late flag on the play.
Holding. Number 69 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Yeah, you got to take this penalty. You might want to think about declining it and bringing out the punter. But this will keep the Raiders from flipping the field and forcing the Giants to take over deep in their own end. And it also may bring up an opportunity for a turnover here by the Giants secondary.
Khalif Barnes.
Barnes getting out in front. Is going to reach out and grab Beeson and not let go as Jennings goes by.
5 penalties. It's cost Oakland 50 yards. This is now a 3rd and 40 for the Raiders. Pryor to the outside. It's a drop ball by Streeter. Streeter would have been drilled either way. Terrell Thomas over there for New York. And now Marquette King will come out to punt it for Oakland.
And with the rain and the wind, anything can happen. We've already seen some special teams play here in the first half that have influenced this score.
Ruben Randall, who scored the touchdown for the Giants off the pass by Eli Manning, standing at his own 14-yard line. Another high punt from King. Randall takes a look at it, bounces, and it dies inside the 5. Chimdi Chekwa getting down the field. You cannot do it any better than Marquette King just did. 59-yard punt. Giants will have it deep in their own territory. They've got the lead on Oakland when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Acura. Meet the extremely new 2014 MDX at Acura.com/MDX. And by Chase Freedom. Get your cash back.
Extra offensive lineman for the Giants is James Brewer. Ball is at the 3-yard line of New York. 14-10 lead for the Giants. Under 5 minutes to go in this first half. Give it to Brown. Andre Brown keeps the legs churning and gives the Giants some breathing room. A 9-yard gain. Excellent effort by Brown.
He's having just an outstanding first half, and I got to think these offensive linemen love this effort too. They get the push, and then Brown finishes off the play. 12 carries now for 64 yards.
Andre Brown is wearing a special carbon fiber shin guard to protect his left leg. Some doctors thought he just may not play again after the back-to-back injuries. End of last season, then in the preseason this year. Cruz the motion man on a 2nd and 1. Play clock is down to 2. Check to a running play. Brown looking for an opening and doesn't get there. Looks to be just shy of a first down. Vance Walker in on that stop for Oakland.
And I think Tom Coughlin would have liked Brown to just dive for it. Instead, he hesitated just a bit.
Thought a good spot.
A very good spot. First down, Giants.
Rain continues to come down. That was not a part of the forecast, but then some dark clouds moved overhead. And the Oregonian Dan Fouts predicted rain.
Yeah, My bunion started to act up.
Is that
again.
what it was?
Yeah.
You got to get those checked out. I think.
No, they work.
On first down, here's Brown. Raiders were ready for it. No gain on the play for Andre Brown. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the rest of the gang. The latest NFL scores and highlights. Week 10 in the NFL. It's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
On that last drive, Ian, Eli Manning 5 of 6 for 57 yards. The one incompletion, the drop by Cruz that might have been a touchdown.
Manning overall now 7 of 11, 65 yards, and the touchdown to Randall. This is 2nd and 10 for the Giants. We're down to 2:40 to go in this first half. Hayden Hillis in there with John Connor. Give it to Hillis. Hillis hit and down quickly. He ricocheted off Lamar Houston and then collapsed for no gain.
Well, Lamar Houston is a huge defensive end. There he is on the outside here. He's 6'3", 300 pounds. Look at the quickness as he beats the block of Will Beatty and makes the top stop on Will Hillis.
It'll be 3rd and long as we hit the 2-minute warning. Late stages, second quarter, MetLife Stadium. Raiders punter Marquette King flipped the field on New York. Giants took over deep in their own territory after the booming 59-yard kick, and now facing a 3rd and 11 at the 12. 2 minutes to go. Raiders do have 3 timeouts to work with. Manning making sure everybody's on the same page here. Dime package for Oakland. Young and Adams on the field. Manning to throw it. By Randall. Randall turns it upfield. Breaks another tackle. Ruben Randall out across the 35. 25 yards on the catch and run.
Really a well-designed play for the Giants. Kevin Gilbride. A lot of traffic in the middle there as Brandon Myers got his man in the way of Randall, and Randall took advantage of the downfield pick.
On first down, Manning rifles, intercepted. Pick 6 coming. Tracy Porter, touchdown. Porter has done it against another Manning in his life.
Well, that's 10 interceptions that Tracy Porter has returned for a touchdown. None easier than this one.
Manning trying to beat the blitz, rushes the pass, and it turns into 7 the other way for Oakland.
Well, the pressure was coming, but it wasn't all that bad. I mean, he does get hit here and slammed down violently by Daniel Muir, but he knew when he let that ball go, it was headed in the wrong direction.
What a turn of events here. The Giants now trail 17-14. 17 points off of turnovers for Oakland, and none easier than that one for Tracy Porter.
In the circle is Tracy Porter with his coverage on Victor Cruz. Watch Porter drop into zone coverage and then cut in front of the out route run by Cruz. It's a zone right there. Great job of reading the quarterback's eyes by Porter. And the pressure from Muir forces the early throw and the pick 6.
And when Porter was with the New Orleans Saints in the Super Bowl, he picked off Peyton Manning and took it the distance in that win over the Colts. Eli Manning, 16 interceptions, leads the NFL, and the 3rd time that he's been victimized on a pick 6. 1:18 to play in this first half. Go back to week 1 at Dallas. Manning intercepted by Brandon Carr. 49 yards on the return for the touchdown. Week 6, Manning picked off by Tim Jennings. 48 yards for the score. And here's Porter taking it the distance for Oakland. .118 to play, first half. Manning and the Giants have it at the 20. Manning trying to spin out of trouble, and he loses his footing. Vance Walker over there for Oakland.
That'll go down as the third sack of the first half on Eli Manning. 22 sacks now against Manning this season. But he had time to throw initially, but the coverage in the secondary, they're going to drop back into another zone. 4-man rush. And the pressure that time by Vance Walker brings down the quarterback.
26 sacks on the season. 14 different Raiders have registered sacks. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report, JB and company, the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Sacked 3 times. He's been hurried 4 times. Knocked down 4 times. Now a 2nd and 16 for the Giants. Just over a minute left. Running play. Peyton Hillis spun down across the 25. Short of a first down. Mike Jenkins in on the stop. That's an 11-yard gain.
I think the Raiders ought to be thinking about calling a timeout here. 3rd down here. They've got 3 to work with, and time just going off the clock.
Down to 42 seconds left. Hillis remains in there. Motion man is Myers. It's a pitch for Hillis. Looking for the marker. He's got it. Across the 30-yard line. 5-yard pickup for Hillis. Clock continues to roll here. Giants had timeouts to work with too.
They're in no hurry to use the timeouts. Coughlin obviously wants to get to the locker room and not risk another turnover. Seen so many here in the first half.
Manning hands it off to Hillis again. Fans react, and that'll be the final play of this first half. (17-14). The Raiders leading the Giants at the half. Verizon Halftime Report is coming up after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Storylines, the Giants give it up 3 times, 3 turnovers. Raiders score 17 points off of those turnovers. They've got the lead. Andre Brown back after a broken left leg in the preseason, and he's been a factor. 14 carries, 65 yards to lead the Big Blue. Start of the 3rd quarter. Oakland 17 and the Giants 14. Right now, let's take a look at the first half performance presented by Intel. Eli Manning, pick 6, 3 of them this season, the latest to Tracy Porter, and that's what gave the Raiders the lead at the break. As we welcome you back to the broadcast booth, Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts, and that's been the story throughout the season. Eli Manning, 16 interceptions now, leads the NFL.
Well, he's been sacked 3 times, too, in that first half, so the Raider pressure has gotten to him. And that last time, of course, when you throw the pick 6, you always wonder how a guy's going to bounce back from it. Fortunately for the Giants, they've gotten help from Andre Brown in the running game, and with the weather continuing to deteriorate, he's going to be a bigger factor. But I expect Manning to bounce back as the competitor that he is.
So those 3 turnovers by the Giants. Raiders have been opportunistic. Manning having a conversation with his offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride. Giants just allow 99 yards of offense to Oakland. But it's the Raiders that have the lead, and they're getting the football to open up this 3rd quarter. Brown on the kick. Tywan Jones thought about it. And a touchback. It'll be at the 20-yard line for Oakland. Terrell Pryor has been held in check. 3 of 12 throwing the ball, 27 yards, 4 carries, 21 yards, and a touchdown for Pryor.
And the Giants have done a good job with the pressure on Pryor. But you can see the short field here to start out the game. Real bonus for the Raiders to get that opening possession on the 5-yard line, and then the pick 6 at the end of the first half.
So we're just underway. Second half here at MetLife Stadium. Bootleg. Pryor. A dart to Marcel Reese. And brought down at the 29-yard line. It's a 9-yard pickup. AFC West. Oakland That loss last week to Philadelphia could have hit the midway point at 4-4. Instead, Raiders are 3-5. San Diego and Denver, that'll be part of the second half of our doubleheader. The NFL on CBS. Kansas City on a bye, the only undefeated team left in the league. Second catch of the day for Reese. Running play for Jennings. Jennings trying to push the pile, and they're going to mark him right at the 30-yard line. Should be enough for a first down. A 1-yard gain. Rivers combining with Patterson to bring down Jennings.
Jennings averaging over 5.5 yards so far this afternoon, providing the punch for this rushing attack, with Darren McFadden out again with a bad hamstring.
Oakland Raiders went 0-4 in November last season. They were 3-5 at the midway point as well. Thought they were making progress, and it all fell apart. Jennings hit hard after the gain of 1. Linval Joseph, first man there for the Giants.
And defensively, you know, the Giants have got to be feeling good about their effort so far today. Talked about the lack of yardage that the Raiders have been able to generate. Nothing out of their passing game from Terrell Pryor so far. Just 4 completions for 36 yards.
Not raining as hard as it was in that first half. More of a mist now. But the wind has picked up. It was 18 miles per hour. Gusts up to 33. Pryor going against the grain on a catch to Jennings. Jennings makes his move upfield short of a first down. It'll be third and manageable coming up. Roll and Rivers with the tackle. It's a 7-yard gain through the air.
Now you can see just how well Terrell Pryor operates outside of the pocket. But it's inside the pocket, the normal passing situations, going through the progressions and the reads that he needs to improve on. He's going to spend a lot of time in the offseason with offensive coordinator Greg Olson doing exactly that, working on his fundamentals.
Dealing with a sprained knee, we have not seen the explosiveness of Pryor here this afternoon. This is a 3rd and 2 now for Oakland. Jennings! Big run by Jennings into Giants territory. He gashes New York inside the 45. Wisniewski, a block up front to spring Jennings for 18.
But sometimes as a middle linebacker, you guess wrong on a play, and that's what happens here to John Beeson. Watch, he's right in the hole here, but he thinks the ball is going to come right in through here. And basically takes himself out of the play. Good job by Mike Brizell to seal him off to the inside.
So a new set of downs for Oakland to work with from the 44 of New York. Feed it to Jennings. Physical runner. Picks up a yard and a half. John Beeson over there defensively for New York, along with Jonathan Hankins, the rookie out of Ohio State. Perry Fewell now in his 4th year running the defense for the Giants.
Very concerned about the athleticism and speed of Terrell Pryor. Not sure he has anybody on his defense that's as fast as Pryor. But again, Pryor playing with an injured right knee, wearing a brace, has 4 carries today for just 21 yards.
The back-to-back wins for the Giants came against backup quarterbacks. Josh Freeman with Minnesota and Matt Barkley with Philadelphia. Shotgun formation, 2nd and 9. High throw. It's handled by Moore. And forward progress is going to bring him to the 36. Prince Amukamara there defensively for the Giants. 7-yard gain.
That's the first catch of the afternoon. Moore had a couple of drops in that first half. But this, so far, best drive of the day for the Raiders as they come out of the locker room, showing a little bit of fire with their running attack.
Denarius Moore came into this game on pace to become the first Raider to go over 1,000 yards receiving in a season since 2005. Randy Moss, 3rd and 2. Rivera, the motion man. Pryor, look out. Pryor gets away. Looking downfield, sets up the deep ball. It's caught by Moore. Terrell Pryor keeps the play alive.
You know, that reminded me of Randall Cunningham and Carl Banks. Keith Rivers had him dead in the pocket for about a 15-yard loss. Watch Pryor just fade with the hit right there, keep his balance, now rolling right again. And how does not Prince Amukamara make a play on that ball and prevent that completion?
Mick Jagger now in the nickel. On 1st and 10 inside the 15. On a give to Jennings. And he picks
like
up 2.
Keith Richards trying to make a tackle.
Linval Joseph making that stop for the Giants.
Let's go back one more time to this outstanding play by Pryor. I mean, you're not going to get a better shot on a quarterback than Rivers had that time. And then Moore using his body to keep Mukamara away from that ball with a huge 23-yard gain.
Double tight end set now. Mastrud and Rivera. Rivers, acquired in a deal with Cincinnati last year, was the number 9 pick back in the 2008 draft. Play clock is down to 2. A jump. Both teams pointing in the other direction. Mike Patterson, Lucas Nix, movement on the line of scrimmage.
Neutral zone infraction, number 93 to defense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And it is the veteran Patterson.
But you know what happened is Marcel Reese was in motion and Terrell Pryor was telling him to hurry up to get going. And I think that Patterson may have had rabbit ears on this one. Look how fast Reese moves. That gets Patterson with the hard count into the neutral zone. That's the first penalty of the afternoon against the Giants.
And inches the Raiders closer to the goal line. On 2nd and 3. Jennings looks for the hole. Jennings almost broke free. But tackled down low. A 5-yard gain as Antrell Roll was holding on for dear life.
Yeah, fantastic tackle by Roll. Watch Roll 26 here, playing like a middle linebacker here. Recognizes the cutback right there, and then that's hanging on for dear life, waiting for help to come.
Jennings now 83 yards on the ground. And it's 1st and goal for the Raiders. 11th play of the drive to open up this second half. Give it to Jennings. Jennings is denied. No gain on the play. Justin Tuck leveled Jennings on the collision.
Really good team defense all along that defensive line for the Giants. Deep handoff to Jennings, and he's running into the line of scrimmage just a little bit too high there. Easily pushed back by Tuck and the rest of the Giants.
Now this drive has taken up more than half the quarter.
Good time to get Pryor on the move out of the pocket, maybe rolling right.
2nd and goal. Pryor to throw it back in the end zone. It's dropped by Moore.
He would have been out of the end zone anyway, Ian.
So it's 3rd and goal for Oakland.
Good play action fake there. But the ball thrown too far for Moore. Watch Antrell Roll, number 26, pick up Moore, and that forces the ball to be thrown too far.
Think back to the first quarter. Moore was not heavily involved. It was Pryor who kept it himself for the touchdown. 13th play of the drive. A jump.
They're going to get Khalif Barnes for jumping off sides.
False start. Number 69 offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
Now how big was that tackle now by Antrell Roll on 1st down that kept Jennings out of the end zone to the 1-yard line? 69 is Barnes. That little flinch right there, it's all you need.
Jared Valdir was supposed to be their starting left tackle, but surgery in August, torn triceps. He's designated for return on IR. 3rd and goal. Pryor out of the gun, pumps. Pryor out of the pocket, looping, low throw, and it's incomplete. John Beeson put the heat on Pryor, and the Giants defense holds up. Late flag is thrown at the 11.
It's going to be an illegal shift against the Raiders.
Holding. Number 27 offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Or holding against Rashad Jennings. But the Giants really defensed that well. Forced Pryor out of the pocket, took away his first read, And then the pursuit and the coverage in the secondary made it impossible for him to find a receiver.
Short kick for Sebastian Janikowski. 24-yard attempt. And he curls it through for a 20-14 lead. Oakland. 6:56 to play. We're in the third quarter. Coming back. Oakland Raiders use up 8 minutes off the clock to open up the second half. 14 plays, 74 yards. Well, they have to settle for a 24-yard field goal from Sebastian Janikowski. Raiders extend the lead now, 20-14. On the kickoff, Jernigan will not get an opportunity over his head. Giants will have it at the 20, now down by 6. Eli Manning and the Giants back on the field, the offense, when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by Kelley Blue Book. Everything you need to make a smart new car decision is at kbb.com.
20-14, Raiders in front. Some rain, some wind here in Jersey today. And a reminder that Thursday on CBS, Will Arnett, Margot Martindale, and Beau Bridges star in the #1 new comedy, The Millers. Thursday after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS.
And you look at the weather we're having today, just think about 12 weeks from now.
Oh, what do you say?
I think the fans would take this type of weather 12 weeks from now.
You think they'd sign up for this?
Yes, sir.
In a heartbeat. Super Bowl, of course, coming here. Super Bowl 48. Play action. Eli Manning, out route. Victor Cruz, the intended receiver. Tracy Porter, the coverage. First possessions of second halves this season, 8 of them. 2 turnovers, no points.
And because the Raiders did such a great job with their opening drive, taking the 8:04 off the clock, this drive for the Giants becomes all that much more important.
Eli Manning now 8 of 14, 90 yards, a touchdown, and a pick 6. Give is to Brown. And he is devoured right at the line. Kevin Burnett, first man there, gain of a half a yard on the play.
Now the Raiders will come in with 6 defensive backs, and they've been able, even with this type of deployment, get pressure on Manning. Sacked 3 times in that first half.
So now a 3rd and 9. Brown up to 15 carries, the second most he's had in a game in his career. Last year against Carolina, the best game that he's had as a pro. Had 20 carries. Rush coming, they handle it. Manning throws. Oh, tight window. Incomplete. Cruz, the intended receiver. Osama Young ranging over there to make the play for Oakland. It's 3 and out for the Giants.
Really good protection that time for Manning. As the Raiders with 3 down linemen looking like they want to blitz. They really bring Charles Woodson late, but this is just a great play by Osama Young. He's had a couple of big plays there in this ball game.
Can't remember, this is a defense that gave up 7 touchdown passes to Nick Foles a week ago. Weatherford, it comes off the side of his foot. And the Raiders are going to have excellent field position. They mark it in Giants territory at the 48-yard line. A brutal start to open the game, and a brutal start to open the second half. Raiders 20, the Giants 14, 5:58 to go in this third quarter. The last drive for Oakland. Rashad Jennings, he's been the bell cow for the Raiders.
A great play by Pryor to get away from Keith Rivers, and Moore to make the catch down the field. Then the touchdown-saving tackle, it appeared, by Antrell Roll, as the Giants held the Raiders to just 3 points on their last drive, which happened to be their longest of the day.
Well, they had 99 total yards in the first half. They had 74 on that drive, and now they're working with a short field.
A little bit of an advantage there to start your own drives.
Line of scrimmage is the 48 of New York. Take the running play. Pryor slipped down as Pryor couldn't get his footing. Kiwanuka make sure he didn't get up. With NFL Mobile, you can get live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Call ** NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply.
That last play, one of those read option plays, and a lot of indecision by Pryor whether to let Jennings take it. Giants defensed it perfectly. Took away both options for Pryor.
Once again, Jennings sets up as a receiver on the outside. Reese in the backfield. Pryor from the gun. Dump off for Reese. Turns it upfield. Chunks of yards. Marcel Reese spinning inside the 35. Wisniewski has played very well at the point of attack. That's a 16-yard gain for Pryor to Reese.
And again, it's a real good play call by Greg Olson, offensive coordinator. Good block there by Wisniewski as that allows Reese to get down the field. Well executed screen pass there by Pryor. Let the defense come to him and toss it over the top.
On a 1st and 10 now from the 34, the Giants. Ground game. Jennings, stiff arm. Not going to break away from Jaquan Williams. Williams seeing more time defensively, was a special teams guy, but now he and Spencer Pazinger have been splitting time at that outside linebacker position.
And this is tough for a linebacker too, with the tailback coming out here, Jennings with the stiff arm. The key there was he did not allow him to get the stiff arm into his body. He fought off that hand and then grabbed it and brought him down.
Yeah, it's a loss of 3 on the play. Jennings 80 yards on the ground, 17 carries. Under 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. Straight ahead for Jennings. Falls forward and picks up 4 yards on the play. Jason Pierre-Paul in on that stop for New York. So a 3rd and 9 for the Raiders.
And fans sensing the importance of this 3rd down for the Giant defense.
Terrell Thomas on the field. He's the nickel for New York. Andre Holmes sets up as a 3rd receiver. Pryor looks underneath. It's intercepted. Picked off by Thomas. Thomas cruising. Thomas breaks a tackle. Fumbles the football at the end of the play.
That is saying he was down at the 3-yard line. Otherwise, this would have been a touchback and Raider ball at the 20.
Terrell Thomas, NFC Defensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago in the win over Philadelphia, and a huge INT for New York.
And his first INT of the season almost became a touchdown, almost a disaster too. Great move here to get away from Pryor, and then coming up from behind is Holmes to try to knock it away. It goes out of the back of the end zone, but the officials ruled him down after the 67-yard return.
So Thomas able to jump the route. Nearly took it the distance.
Now this is a turnover, so they're going to review this upstairs and review exactly where the knee touched and the ball went free.
You mentioned the hustle of Andre Holmes. He's number 18.
He knew exactly what he wanted to do too. Did you see him eye that ball and come down with his right hand? He's clearly down though, all the way down on his backside. But a great effort by Holmes. And it'll be Giants ball probably back at the 4-yard line.
Holmes with the chop down, but Thomas was able to secure it as the knee hit. 20-14 Raiders.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Killzone Shadowfall. What will you sacrifice for peace?
All turnovers are reviewed, and Pete Morelli is under the hood taking a look at this one. Pryor intercepted by Thomas, and the question, when did the ball come free and when was Thomas down?
Holmes comes with the chop, and now he's trying to pull it out, but the Ball still in the possession of Thomas.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Please set the game clock to 3:01, and the ball should be placed on the 5-yard line.
And that's what took the extended period of time for Morelli to get the clock right and to get the exact spotting of the football for New York inside the Oakland 5.
And the smart thing that Thomas does at the end of this run, when you don't know where the defenders are and you're that close to the goal line, just cover up the ball.
Yeah.
And he did that and withstood the tomahawk chop by Holmes, and then Holmes trying to rip it out as they went to the ground.
Terrell Thomas, 3 ACL surgeries on the same knee. So the fact that he's been able to work his way back onto the field to play is an amazing story. Pryor intercepted by Thomas. The Giants are set up with a 1st and goal at the 5. A 3-receiver set for Manning. Running play. Brown tried the shake and bake. And Brown falls forward for a gain of 3.5 on the play.
We go back to the interception, and Pryor's going to try and hit more on the slant route, but watch the job that Thomas does reading the quarterback's eyes, stepping in front. And if he doesn't intercept that ball, maybe Trumaine McBride did. But great hustle by Pryor. Remember, he's playing with a bad knee. He outruns Thomas, forces him to come back to the middle of the field where the tackle is made.
2nd and goal, just inside the 2. Cruz, the motion man. Fade. Flag down. Trying to get Hakeem Nicks his first touchdown of the season. Tracy Porter there defensively for Oakland.
Pass interference, number 23, defense. The foul occurred in the end zone by rule. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Well, if Porter doesn't grab Nicks here, this is going to be a touchdown. He's got a firm grip on that jersey on the front side of Nicks. Ball thrown just a little bit too far to the inside, or might have been a touchdown anyway.
Giants looking to regain the lead. On the ground. Andre Brown waltzes in. Touchdown, Giants. The turnover turns into 7 points. 2:15 mark of the 3rd quarter. Andre Brown, be careful.
He needs to work on that part of his game. He's not used to it. It's been a while since he's been in the end zone. How about that lead block by John Connor clearing the way?
That is now going back prior to the injury last year, a rushing touchdown in 6 straight games for Andre Brown. Extra point from Josh Brown. And it's the Giants now in front. Andre Brown returning to the field after the broken left leg in the preseason. And it's paying off for the Big Blue. First interception of the season for Terrell Thomas, setting the Giants up at the 5-yard line after the return, and then Andre Brown does the rest. Giants in front, 21-20. Josh Brown kicking it off 6 yards deep in the end zone. Taiwan Jones. Jones trying to get to the outside. And Jones hit from behind just across the 30-yard line by Cooper Taylor. Saturday, it's conference crunch time on the Home Depot SEC on CBS. Aaron Murray leads the Georgia Bulldogs against the Auburn Tigers. It all starts live at 3 Eastern with college football today on CBS. Sorry about the Ducks, Stan.
What happened?
Oh, you didn't hear about Oregon, Stanford?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Anaheim Ducks.
No,
Okay.
no, Oregon. Sorry, bud.
Okay.
No, that was genuine.
Yeah.
On first down for Oakland from its own 30-yard line. Play fake. Pryor throwing. Underneath route to Rod Streeter. First time he's been involved. 6-yard gain for Streeter. Mukamara with a takedown for New York.
That's just a 3rd completion to a wide receiver this afternoon for the Raiders. And the first, as you mentioned, is Streeter, who has worked hard with his quarterback in practice, studying a lot of tape together.
Raiders have suffered 8 straight losses against teams from the NFC, and they've lost to Philly and Washington this season to add to that ledger. 2nd and 4. Jennings, stutter step. Flag thrown back at the 32. Jonathan Hankins, first man there. Looks like a hold.
Number 69 offense. 10-yard penalty remaining, 2nd down.
Khalif Barnes, another penalty on the left tackle for Oakland.
That's 8 penalties against the Raiders this afternoon. And Barnes has had way too many. It's just a blast play right up the middle. He comes down on Patterson and just tackles him. The official's always looking at the point of attack to see if there's any illegal blocking. And there it was by Barnes.
Barnes was penciled in to be the right tackle, but had to step in at left tackle. The injury, as we mentioned, to Valdir, and he's been there the entire season. Shotgun, low throw. Jennings, good hands. Jennings working the sideline. And Rashad Jennings, very effective as a receiver. Terrell Pryor talked about Jennings, said he's very passionate, he practices hard, he trusts him, and he is a factor in the passing game.
He's big on preparation, too. He said that when you get an opportunity, if you haven't prepared, then you're in real trouble. And he obviously has taken his opportunities in place of Darren McFadden and done a great job for Oakland.
Doesn't see himself as a backup. He says that the backups are the ones at home watching on TV on Sundays. 3rd and 2. 4 receivers set. Pryor again on the move. Looks downfield, throws, incomplete. McBride had a chance at an INT. Rod Streeter, the intended target, and the Raiders will punt late stages of the 3rd quarter.
Real good pressure, Justin Tuck at first, and then Cullen Jenkins. But McBride, he should have picked this one off. This ball is thrown right to number 38. Streeter coming over the top, but that is an opportunity for the Giant defense that they let get away.
Ruben Randall waiting for the kick from Marquette King, who's done a marvelous job for Oakland. Did have a punt block, though, and it turned into a touchdown for the Giants. King handles the snap. End over end. Randall lets it bounce. He'll take it on the 1 bounce. He splits defenders. Randall is brought down at the 25-yard line. 47-yard punt, a 10-yard return. Giants will have the football to start the 4th quarter, a 21-20 lead on Oakland. We're coming back after this message and a word from your local station, NFL on CBS. Start of the 4th quarter here at MetLife Stadium. Giants 21, the Raiders 20. Giants come in with a record of 2-6. Looking for their 3rd consecutive win. The Raiders have lost their last 11 games in the Eastern time zone. Giants have it 1st and 10. Just shy of the 25. Andre Brown. That play blown up. Kevin Burnett engulfs Brown for a loss of 4.
And how did Brown hang on to this ball? He got the ball, and then he gets smashed by Burnett. Watch Burnett come on the blitz here. Actually, he's outside even farther from Houston. Perfect timing. And a great job of hanging on by Brown.
Back it up to the 21-yard line. 2nd and 14 now for New York. Fake the running play. Manning, timing route, sideline. Hakeem Nicks secures it. 1st down across the 45.
Well, that type of catch separates the all-pros from the also-rans. Knowing he's going to get hit by the safety. There's no question that Nicks knows that Woodson's coming. Great concentration, knows where his feet are going to be, inbounds, hanging on. A big 25. Great catch by Nicks.
Eli able to loop it over Phillip Adams. And Woodson was looming, as you mentioned, with the big hit on Nicks. On 1st down, Brown, the cutback. 5-yard gain as Brown is able to get it across midfield. Well, what does this game mean for the New York Giants? Started the season 0-6. Giants have won 2 in a row. Trying to keep pace in the NFC East. Dallas at 5-4. Philadelphia with an opportunity to move to 5-5. They've got the lead over Green Bay. 20-9 in the third quarter. Washington has lost already here in Week 10. Extra point for Green Bay now makes it 20-10 Philly. 72 yards rushing for Andre Brown and a touchdown in his return. 2nd and 5. Manning. Too far. Try to hit Victor Cruz on the deep ball. Tracy Porter had the coverage step for step.
Well, just a little bit of a miscommunication at the end of this route as Cruz is going to go to the inside. And the ball thrown to the outside. That's really a good job by Tracy Porter. With his enforcing his will on the receiver there, forcing him to the inside. Most go routes thrown to the outside. Heads up by Porter.
And now it's 3rd and 5 for the Giants. Early stages, fourth quarter. Giants lead at 21-20 over Oakland. Working from the gun. Manning fires. The hands of Victor Cruz. First down, Giants. 15-yard gain.
There was no miscommunication on this play. A sharp route by Cruz and a dart by Manning. The coverage was pretty good here too on Cruz, but that ball was just perfectly thrown away from the coverage of Phillip Adams.
So fresh set of downs for the Giants now at the 34 of Oakland. Brown with Connor in the backfield. It's Brown. Takes the lane. Brings it across the 30-yard line. 6-yard gain. Connor provides the block. Nick Roach with the hit. Oakland Raiders have lost 12 straight games when they allow 19 points or more. They've given up 21 here. Under 12 minutes to play now. 2nd and 4 for the Giants. Eli Manning making a change at the line of scrimmage. Checks into a running play. Brown, as the Raiders were trying to knock the ball free. 3-yard gain for Brown.
You just can't say enough about this afternoon for Andre Brown. Career high carries for him now.
So it's 21 carries, 82 yards. Andre Brown was on short-term IR with a fractured left leg. Happened in the final preseason game against New England. He was coming off an injury last year, fractured left fibula, November of last season.
And he's also had a torn Achilles tendon.
3rd and 1. Manning, little floater, and it's Brown. Spun down short of the 20-yard line. It's a first down. Charles Woodson with the tackle for Oakland. 4-yard gain.
Yeah, great read by Manning as Mike Jenkins coming on the blitz here off the corner. Sees Brown as the outlet receiver, the hot receiver on the play. Brown's first catch of the afternoon. 3rd down conversion.
David Wilson, the running back that the Giants thought would be the go-to guy this year, placed on IR this week. Spinal stenosis, suffered a herniated disc in the game against Philadelphia back in October. On first down, Andre Brown brought down inside the 5. Brown continues to deliver for the Giants.
And just what the Giants needed and what they promised when we talked to him yesterday. Good vision, power, and then speed.
Well, Tom Coughlin has said Giants are looking at this as an 8-game schedule. And now they've got an actual running back that can do damage in Andre Brown back on the field. 10th play of the drive. 1st and goal for New York. Draw play. Brown the blast. And the Raiders stack him up at the last moment. 3-yard gain for Brown. Kevin Gilbride, great selection here.
I think he's looking for more plays to give the ball to Brown right now. You got the big fullback, John Connor, as the lead blocker.
James Brewer is checked in, backup offensive lineman, and he's eligible. 2nd and goal for the Giants. Pasco goes in motion, trying to build on their lead. Brown is stood up for a loss. The Raiders snuffed that one out with Daniel Muir.
Well, Muir beat the block of James Brewer. Here's Muir right here. Brewer's going to try to come down and block him, but he's late, and Muir gets inside of Pasco, makes a big play for Oakland.
So Brown heads to the sideline. 12th play of the drive. This is a 3rd and goal for the Giants. Hillis is in there. Shotgun Manning. Manning throws underneath. It's offline. Incomplete. Victor Cruz was open, but Manning could not get it to him cleanly.
Now defensive coordinator Jason Tarver comes with a blitz. Here's Cruz in the slot. He's going to come down into the outside, but the pressure on Manning just enough to get that ball a foot too far to the outside, and Cruz would have cruised into the end zone.
A 7-minute drive, and the Giants now with a 23-yard field goal attempt. Josh Brown. Brown connects. 24-20 Giants. 8:04 to play here in the 4th. Home of CBS Sports. 13 plays, 70 yards. It took 6 minutes and 56 seconds. The ball comes off the tee for Brown, who will kick it off for the Giants, but a huge defensive stand once again for the Oakland Raiders to keep this game close. 24-20 Giants. Raiders still very much alive. Tywan Jones is the deep man, and this one will bounce out of the back of the end zone to the 20. Terrell Pryor, 10 of 23, 107 yards and a pick, but his team only down 4.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, built free. And by T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence.
Giants 24, Raiders 20, just over 8 minutes to go in the 4th. Pryor almost intercepted by Jaquan Williams. Incomplete.
That would have been a spectacular interception by Williams, again reading the quarterback's eyes. There he is right here. Watch as he just keeps his eyes on Pryor and gets up in the air. Pryor had a receiver open down the field on the slant route. Denarius Moore, but great play by Williams.
2nd and 10 now from the 20. Motion man is Mastru. Working out of the pistol. It's a give to Jennings. 3-yard gain. Joseph with the tackle as we get a NFL Today update. JB, Dan Marino.
Hey, Dan, how many times have we called the name Nick Foles?
And all day today, 3 touchdowns today, 10 in the last 2 weeks. This one to Riley Cooper, 32 yards. Philadelphia winning 27-10.
That's just like us calling the bird in the beard all the time.
Yes. Thanks so much.
We need a new cartoonist.
Yeah, I think so. And our necks need to be stabilized. Those heads are moving. 3rd and 7, low snap. Pryor on a busted play is brought down. And Trell Roll getting to the QB. Raiders go 3 and out.
Yeah, once the snap is bad like that, Pryor really has no chance to adjust to the blitz by Roll. Roll will come from the right side of the screen. Picks up his 2nd sack of the year. And another big play for Antrell Roll.
Under 7 minutes to play now. Marquette King punting. with Ruben Randall waiting for it at the 34. No rush. High punt, not very deep. Randall moves forward into Raiders territory. Spins his way inside the 45. The snapper John Kondo makes the tackle. Giants with a 4-point lead. They've got the football. Two-time Pro Bowler Antrel Rolle, one of the leaders of this Giants defense. He's made a number of plays here today, including a touchdown-saving tackle on Rashad Jennings. That could have been a game-changer here as the Giants take over at the 44 of Oakland. Andre Brown nowhere to go. Loss of 3 on the play. Houston and Walker there defensively.
Let's go back to those 2 plays you talked about, Ian. This one here at the opening drive of the second half for the Raiders. Looks like they were going to right down the field and score, but he stops Jennings short of the end zone, and then last series stops Pryor on a 3rd down.
We talked to Rolle this weekend, and he said, look, the team is filled with fighters. They understand that the hole they created was deep. Now they have to dig out of it, but the practices have been crisper, and that's been showing up on Sundays, according to Antrel Rolle. 2nd and 13. Manning off play action. Out of the pocket. Coming back for the football, Akeem Nicks. Nicks is ruled down. Just 5:35 and counting left in the 4th quarter.
I also liked what Rolle talked about. You know, they got a couple of wins that lifted some of the weight off their shoulders. But being the veteran that he is, he knows that he wants to make sure in that locker room that the team doesn't exhale and take anything for granted.
Taking on an Oakland team that enters action at 3-5. 7 straight losses on the road. 10 of their last 11 away from home, all under Dennis Allen. 3rd and 6. And Manning throws it into the ground. Brandon Ross, the pressure, and the Oakland defense is keeping the Raiders in this game.
Yeah, this is what Eli told us, is that the Raiders are going to come up with some blitzes and pressures. And this time it's Ross that comes totally free. Perfect timing by Ross. Manning trying to set up a screen. He saw that Nick Roach doing a good job of holding Brown in the backfield, threw the ball away, but you're going to have some plays that just are disasters like that one, and some that are going to be successful.
Steve Weatherford. It's blocked. The ball rolling and jumped on at the 32-yard line. Blocked from Kalen Burnett, the younger brother of Kevin Burnett.
And Jack Crawford making a real risky play, getting on that ball. You don't have to touch it because the ball went across the line of scrimmage.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Go bold with the new Subway Sriracha Chicken Melt today. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
So it actually doesn't count as a block punt because the ball rolled past the line of scrimmage. Burnett was the one who made contact with it. So Weatherford has never officially had a punt blocked in his career. Pryor trying to run, and Pryor is brought down. He runs into a wall. Keith Rivers for New York. It's a loss of 2.
Great coordination on the punt team by the Raiders. Watch Crawford come in here and Burnett loop around. Crawford is going to take out 2 blockers here and allow Burnett to get his hand on that ball. And remember, it was Crawford on the block punt earlier in the game that resulted in a touchdown that made a mistake. So he redeems himself with that fine coordinated play.
2nd and 12 now. We're down to 4:18 to go in the 4th quarter. Giants leading at 24-20. Underneath route to Darius Moore, trying to get him out in space. Moore, hard tackle. He's got a 1st down. Antrel Rolle with the stop, 15-yard gain.
So this is twice that Antrel Rolle has had this type of tackle, and this one on the Raiders sideline. Watch him go for the head of Denarius Moore right there, but again, did not grab inside the shoulder pads for a horse collar, nor did he grab the face mask.
Motion man is Rivera. 1st and 10 for Oakland at the 46-yard line. Jennings up the middle. No gain.
Now, we have seen Terrell Pryor roll out to the right exclusively today. Just one time did he run to the left. He got 10 yards. The other 3 times he ran the ball to the right, picking up 8 yards. So the Giants doing a good job. Perry Fewell, defensive coordinator, telling his team to play Pryor for running out of the pocket to the right side.
2nd and 10 now for Oakland. 3:35 and counting left in the 4th quarter. Pryor slapped down Justin Tuck. The veteran was locked in on Pryor the whole time.
You know what Tuck is thinking too. He's thinking, oh, if I could only grab this ball, I'd be walking into the end zone right about now. Great athletic play to get one hand on it. But an opportunity there for a pick 6.
3rd and 10 for the Raiders. Low snap, Pryor handles it. Steps up, loses the football. Kiwanuka knocked it away, and it's recovered by Jenkins for New York.
Well, great pass protection for the Raiders for the first 3 or 4 seconds, but Pryor taking way too much time as Kiwanuka goes around Watson here. Pryor steps up, but you got to get rid of that ball sooner than that. Waiting for his receiver to clear, and a huge turnover for the Giants.
Giants have it at the 45 of Oakland. 3:21 remaining on the clock.
That's the 5th time this season that Pryor has fumbled. That's the first time he's lost a fumble.
Second turnover for Oakland. Giants have turned it over 3 times. Giants nursing a 4-point lead. Brewer on, extra offensive lineman. Brown trying to veer it to the outside. It's a 3-yard gain. Stacey McGee with a tackle.
Let's go back and check out the clock on Pryor on this play. Normally 3 seconds is about as much as you're going to get. And you can see as he steps up, about 4.5 to 5 seconds. And that gave Kiwanuka a lot of time to get all the way around the rookie, Menelik Watson, for the strip sack.
Oakland has used one of its timeouts. Raiders have 2 remaining. Stop the clock with 3:12 to play. Last time these 2 teams met, October of 2009, a 44-7 Giant win over the Raiders. Ahmad Bradshaw had a couple of rushing touchdowns and 110 yards. Raiders have completely turned over their roster in the last 2 years. Only 13 players remain from the 2011 team. Raiders trying to avoid a 3-6 start to the season. Andre Brown, a difference maker for the Giants. 8-yard gain and a first down. Raiders will use their second timeout. Coming up next, the NFL on CBS continues. Peyton Manning and the Broncos take on Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers, or the Texans meet the Cardinals. That's coming up. Second half of the doubleheader, the NFL on CBS. AFC West standings. Raiders come in at 3-5. Kansas City a bye, 9-0. Denver 7-1. San Diego has had some hard luck. Huge game for the Chargers at 4-4.
That's funny you're talking about the Raiders potentially falling to 3-6. The Giants hoping to get to 3-6.
There are different ways to get there, and the Giants would be thrilled to get to 3-6 after the 0-6 start. Brown 105 yards on the ground in his return from injury and a touchdown. Brown looks for a hole, and it closes up in a hurry. Forward progress will give him a yard. McGee and Sims in on the stop. Final timeout for the Raiders, 2:58 mark of the 4th. So let's get you caught up to date. Our game summary here, Oakland and the Giants. Right out of the gate, Jernigan fumbles the opening kick. They turned it into a touchdown. Then the block, Taylor taking it the distance. Raiders the pick six late in the second quarter. Porter, and then the Giants able to answer with a turnover on the other side. Terrell Thomas, Giants 24, Raiders 20. Breakdown of the numbers, 245 yards for the Giants. Time of possession has been close. 3 turnovers for New York. If they get one more first down, it would really force Oakland's hand. Brown inside the 30. Raiders have no timeouts remaining. Usama Young with the stop.
Andre Brown just doing a great job this entire afternoon. I'm so impressed with the way he's been able to hang on to the ball. It's been so long since he played. I know that was a big concern for Tom Coughlin, how he would hold up taking some hits, but also the fact that his conditioning has paid off as well today. Over 100 yards here. I would expect Manning to keep the ball on the ground here and run that clock all the way down to the 2-minute warning.
3rd and 5. Give it to Brown. Andre Brown, his 30th carry. If he gets the first down, that's going to end it. And they're going to measure it. We hit 2 minutes to play. Just looking at that glance, it appears to be enough. And the Raiders will not be able to stop the clock when they resume. It'll be over. That's it. 2 minutes to play to make it official. The Giants will take 3 knees and they'll walk out of here with a win against the Raiders. Well, the headline for this one will be Andre Brown and the lift that he provided to the Giants offense. Brown returning from a fractured left leg. Career high 30 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Victory formation for the Giants. Giants improved to 3-6. That's 3 straight wins, and they're hanging around in the NFC East.
With 2 more home games coming up on the schedule. How rare is that to have a bye and then 3 home games?
And this the first of 3 straight home games with Green Bay and Dallas. No Aaron Rodgers. And then the Dallas Cowboys, and it's always a battle between the Giants and the Cowboys through the years. Baltimore, Cincinnati. We're going to take you out to that game coming up with 1:15 left on the clock. There's Green Bay and Dallas at home, then at Washington. So 2 of those divisional games. They have to head to the West Coast for San Diego. Oakland Raiders, this will be 12 straight losses in the Eastern time zone for the Silver and Black.
Packers coming into town having pretty much been beaten by Philadelphia today. Philadelphia with a substantial lead so far.
Seneca Wallace, the backup quarterback, got knocked out of that game for Green Bay. Manning takes a knee. And that'll do it. The Giants riding a 3-game winning streak after opening the season 0-6. The Giants defeat the Oakland Raiders 24-20. Giants had lost 5 in a row against AFC teams. The Raiders have now lost 9 consecutive games against teams from the NFC. Final score, MetLife Stadium. The Giants over the Oakland Raiders, 24-20. Don't forget, second half of the doubleheader is coming up. Peyton Manning and the Broncos taking on the Chargers. The Texans meet the Cardinals. Cincinnati and Baltimore will be coming up. We'll have the conclusion of that one when we come back. For Dan Fouts, this is Ian Eagle. So long from New Jersey. The